Oh, no, he got it. Okay, so this is the little Lazy Flyer from Techone. It's, for those with a sense of history, it's sort of basically kind of a lazy bee, with a miniature lazy bee, essentially. There was an well-known RC plane called the Lazy Bee that was like this, basically, but that was a lot bigger. So this is a sort of miniature lazy bee, effectively. I picked it up at the London swap meet last year, and tell the truth, I was actually seeing it. I was actually offered it for sale yesterday at the swap meet, but nobody seemed to be interested. So I thought we'd give it another try. We'd try flying it again. That's a bit. There's a funny latch on it, and of course we have. Well, no, nearly. Yeah, I've not got it to go in now. I guess it's strapped in the way. It's a bit of an oddball latch. You've got to get that pin to go in. No. Easy with these little things fitting stuff in. Yeah, that's got the pin in. That's engaged the pin in the latch, so I think, so that the whatchamacallem, the battery hatch won't fly off while we're doing it. Hat on straight here as best as I can. Pretty early morning here. Wow, the sunrise is getting later every day as well. We're well into July now. Okay, we got plenty of control movement there in the right direction. I've flown this a few times. My impression from what I remember is that it flies okay, but it's a bit odd. I wasn't excited by it, which is why I was quite prepared to let it go, but it certainly can fly. Okay.
Throttle cut off.
Give it some whatever. There you go. There you go. Maybe I should have put the battery a bit further forward. It feels a little bit tail heavy, if anything. I have a lot of room to put the battery much further forward. Yeah, see, this is... Maybe that's part of the problem, that it's tail heavy. Maybe it is. See, this is the problem. I find it, this is what I found before. It seems to be unstable in pitch. Plenty of stability in roll, but unstable in pitch. Maybe that's because I've got the battery too far back. Well, yeah, it's a bit of a bugger to control. Yeah, I think it's tail heavy. So what I want to do here, if I can, yeah, it's for sure it's tail heavy. You give it some power. Oh, bugger. Yeah, it's tail heavy for sure. And we all know how tail heavy planes fly. Once quite often. Yeah.
Throttle cut off.
Yep, so Yeah, I think what to do, I don't know, it's not a lot of room there in the battery compartment. Well, is our propeller still intact?
Throttle cut off. Throttle cut on.
Looks it, basically. Yeah, that was nasty. It's got to be tail heavy. But, well, of course, I suppose I could put a bigger battery in it as well. Let's have a look where the center of gravity is. Oh yes, there is a mark there. There is a mark, although it seems far back, but anyway. Okay. Well, the center of gravity appears to be pretty much where those marks say, but it certainly seems to be flying tail heavy to me. Okay, I'm going to turn this off while I mug around with the battery. Okay, well, I've done pretty much all I can do here. This is the battery I was trying to fly it with, which is an 1100 milliamp hour 3-cell. Yep. And now I've put in a battery twice as such, a 2200 milliamp hour 3-cell, which has moved the center of gravity a little further forward. I mean, not a massive amount, but yeah, it's a little further forward. Now it's a little bit forward of those marks. It was really on the marks before, but it sure as heck seemed to be flying tail heavy to me. Anyway, so this is a 2200 milliamp hour battery, a bit big for this. I could barely fit it in. I mean, you can't put it any further forward because you're hitting the back of the motor. There ain't much room in there. Okay, we're all still bound up. I don't know. Let's see it. Now, of course, now it's hard to take off because the center of gravity is further forward. It wants to nose over. It doesn't want to run on the grass. No. Oh, well, this does not seem very helpful, does it? Oh, go on. Well, bugger to get it off at all with that battery in, because it, with the center of gravity a bit further forward, it wants to fall over on its nose on the grass. Well, not when you give it power. Well, it's still kind of unstable in pitch, but I mean, being more nose heavy, it's certainly not such a complete liability to try and fly. Shows you what a little bit of difference to the center of gravity makes. I don't move it very far forward. Could only move it about 1/4 of an inch further forward or so, basically. And I could, other than kind of putting lead in the nose, I couldn't do anything else because this is absolutely as big a battery as you can fit in there, and it absolutely can't go any further forward because it's right up against the back of the motor. And but it is a lot better like this for sure. And I lost my thread there. Yeah. I mean, it was previously balancing on the marks, but mind you, I don't know how authoritative those marks were. I bought it from a swap meet. I don't know whether those marks came on it from the factory or whether the previous owner put those marks on. I mean, they were clearly meant to be center of gravity marks, but I beg to differ. The thing flew absolutely awfully with its center of gravity at those marks. It was horribly nasty to fly because it was tail heavy. Now it's quite a bit better. So it's not really thrilling to fly, but
Time remaining 4 minutes.
it just seems, I guess because it's kind of short coupled and whatever, big wing short coupled, it has a tendency to be stable, very nice and stable in pitch, but that was basically a stall pretty much. They didn't do anything, which isn't good. What was I going to say? It's very stable in roll because it's got some dihedral and whatever and a big wing, but it's not terribly stable inherently in pitch, which of course made it even harder to control when it was tail heavy. But even now it's not tail heavy. You can tell that it's much more responsive to pitch. You know, it tends to wander up and down, and you've got to be careful with the pitch control. Whereas basically it's pretty stable in roll. It's not got much of a tendency to roll over, but it will pitch over if you're not careful. It's certainly a heck of a lot easier to fly with the center of gravity up like this. Flies more like I expected it would fly. You know, because the Lazy B is supposed to be, on which this is based, is supposed to be, you know, kind of a slow, gentle, slow flyer sort of thing. And this did not fly like that when it was tail heavy like that. But it's really hard to fit this battery in. I mean, I really have to, I hope I can get it out okay without ripping foam out, because it was a very tight squeeze to get it in through that hatch and into that little battery compartment. Just a standard, I forget what these are. I bought a couple of these. I bought these new at the same swap meet. They weren't used, but there was a guy selling batteries at that swap meet. There's the train coming. And see, that's 4 blasts. I don't know what order they were in particularly. Somebody was saying it's supposed to be like 3 short and a long or something. Was that 3 short and a long?
2 minutes.
Yeah, she says 2 minutes, but, I mean, he's got a much bigger battery, and that was based on the other battery. I'm sure he could fly for a lot more than 2 minutes with this battery. Heck, probably fly for another 7 minutes with this battery. It's a big battery for such a small plane. See, there's a train coming behind me now. The railway's just north of our field there, and the train has only blown his whistle the one set so far. Although I don't know whether that was for our road. That might be for the other road. He may be blowing it again in a minute for our road. I think they only run goods trains along this line. Somebody was saying it goes to some factory or something or other. I don't quite know where it goes, but anyway. Well, anyway, I guess that's sort of the secret to flight. Yeah, but I don't, as I say, yeah, she's giving me the shake saying land it. It's only a minute, but I don't think. Anyhow, we might as well land it, but that train's a bit noisy. There he goes again. But I guess maybe that set is designed for our road and the other. Oh, he's loud when he's close. Yeah. Ouch. I'm going to let the train go by because it's bugging me. The noise of the train is really bothering me. Don't hear that often when I'm flying because generally speaking I never fly a plane till the time expires, but he's still kind of pretty unstable in pitch. And he nosed over a bit on landing. Well, it's not hardly surprising. Since he nosed over on takeoff, it's hardly surprising he tries to nose over on landing. Kind of follows. If they're going to nose over on takeoff, they're going to try and nose over on landing. He didn't fall over anyway. I just want to throw the water off the propeller a little bit. There's the train going by. Yeah, it's all tankers. I think they were saying it's some kind of, is it a refinery or an oil depot or something they go to? I don't know. Certainly this one seems to be all tankers. Well, he certainly flies a lot better with a big battery all the way up front. Just hope I can get the battery out through that tiny little battery compartment door. Yeah, I got the battery out okay. See, it's a very small little battery compartment there. There really ain't much room. And this was the battery I was squeezing in there. 2200 milliamp hour Gen 0, whatever. Anyway.